Since 2015, the European Union has been experiencing an unprecedented influx of refugees fleeing war, persecution and extreme poverty, this being the biggest humanitarian crisis since World War II. 2018 data show that there are more than 70 million refugees worldwide. In 2017, more than 37,000 people were forced to leave their homes each day. In the Mediterranean, more than 50,000 people have died, and in 2016, 700 were children.
Although Portugal does not yet suffer directly from the refugee crisis, this could happen in the near future. Are we prepared to deal with this situation? What can we do if this happens?
In a refugee crisis, Portugal would need very advanced maritime recognition systems, and currently, no machine does a better job regarding this situation than a satellite. The automatic identification system's satellite ASH tracks the location of vessels in the most remote areas of the world.
The plan would consist of, for example, knowing what resources would be needed for the situation presented and setting aside some of those resources, such as clothing, hygiene products and even donations that have been made, having certain temporary shelters available, seeing what jobs people could have if they stayed permanently in the country, and also, if possible, having volunteers to help organize the resources that have been made available.
Introducing an application for the registration of refugees would be a great way for a better organization and control of those who enter our country. With the registration of refugees, their integration into society would be facilitated through the first aid, such as insertion in a refugee camp, as well as later, the granting of a subsidy in order to become independent, help and contribute in their new community. This application would be used on tablet because this type of device provides registration through photography, video or even voice if necessary. Each professional responsible for registering refugees, like a maritime police officer or any other law enforcement officer, possesses a username and a password. Any action taken within the app is recorded according to the user, so that it's always mentioned who is registered and who is responsible for registering each refugee. In the dashboard, we can find links to the other pages, records, graphics and statistics, contacts, and a way to export all kinds of information from the app. On the registration page, there are several files to be filled out so that the information is as complete as possible about each refugee. Since many of the refugees do not carry any type of document that identifies them, it would be possible to register fingerprints, photos and videos to facilitate identification. For those who carry documents, next to each file a photo of them is placed. The number of the family group as well as their names are registered to avoid distancing the family and for them to be organized as a whole. Finally, temporary documents are automatically generated according to the European Union rules. We can also find a separate page for charts and statistics that are updated as new information is inserted and registered in the application. On this page, we can find the most important contacts so that in any alert situation, it's easier to contact between the various entities.
Many refugees' families separate when they are rescued by police forces or in refugee shelters, so it is necessary to find a way for these families to stay together in order to reduce panic. This organization by family groups will consist of dividing the space of the shelters by section for each family.
Refugee camps are known for the lack of basic hygiene and survival conditions. Better Shelter is a humanitarian innovation program that provides temporary shelters. The units are used not only as temporary shelters, but also serve as clinics, classrooms, and spaces suitable for children. The structure of the shelter is unique and easy to transport, having resistance to adverse weather conditions and mini solar panels that would provide renewable energy for the shelter. These and other structures would provide basic housing conditions for the refugees.
Due to the fact that they're in a new situation, the refugees may be in a state of shock or even with anxiety, and it would be a good way to calm the situation down if there was someone qualified to help and comfort people, especially children and the elderly.
After the arrival of the refugees, little by little, it's necessary to insert them into society so that they can become more independent and can contribute to the country they are staying in. Thus, it will be necessary to implement subsidies in the first months of residing in the country. In addition to monetary subsidies, it will also be necessary to donate food as well as a share in medicines. Each family would receive a food basket per month with basic and essential foods, local products for a better insertion in society, and products with a long shelf life, such as pickled and canned foods. Regarding monetary subsidies, it will be something significant. The default number per family would be €200. Depending on the number of the people in the household, the number of children, or the health status of the constituents, this value could increase.
It is necessary to help refugees enter societies and adapt to them. That is possible through cooperation between the government and organizations such as PAR, Red Cross and UN.
In conclusion, in case a large number of refugees enter Portugal, it would be necessary to outline a set of measures, starting with the safe passage of refugees that are crossing the sea. This would be achieved by improving the maritime police rescue systems when tracking boats. After the refugees arrived in Portugal, it would be necessary to work with the counties for accommodation and the consequent living conditions of refugees. Then, do what's necessary to facilitate their integration into the Portuguese society by working together with the population for an integration and acceptance between it and the refugees, whilst promoting monitoring programs for all actions developed.